9/11 was a real story, a very real story.
Police put up barricades to prevent people from crossing Houston Street.
I knew that it would be difficult to move around. I mean, I figured that police barricades would be up everywhere and that they would be trying to keep people, from certain areas and obviously where the danger was. So I just knew that I was going to get down there some kind of way. And then at one of the roadblocks, I met this courier. I was talking to him about how much I wanted to get down there, and he's like, I can get you down there. So I said, all right, let's do it. And he just, as a courier, he knew where to go. He knew the streets of New York City like the back of his hand.
The next thing I knew, I was right in front of the wreckage. I was shocked when I got there because I realized I had been at that very spot less than 3 days before working on another story. I was following Brad Orleman as he campaigned for city council.
The first thing I remember when I got to ground zero was just everything was covered with ash, and it was chaos everywhere. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I remember, that it was absolute, utter chaos.
Then I met Mike, a volunteer who used to be homeless.
We play different roles here. Anything we can do to help the situation out. We've been here since about 9 o'clock this morning, and we've been helping, remove debris removal. We've seen a lot of casualties.
9/11 definitely changed me. I think that it shaped me to rely on my instinct, and I talk a lot about my gut feeling. My gut is, this about, a story or maybe characters that you're talking to, or the way that we're shaping our show or shaping a piece. I think it gave me the feeling to kind of trust my gut instinct.
The reality of seeing the destruction and chaos firsthand left me feeling very sad and vulnerable. I turned to God, family, and friends to help me come to terms with the tragedy.
We experienced fear and remorse and pain and sadness, but it didn't break us. It didn't break the American spirit. It didn't break the city of New Yorkers. It didn't break us. That's how I think. I think of resilience and strength.
This year, when September 11th came round, none of us were ready to remember what happened in such great detail. I certainly wasn't.
I think as an international student, I had a completely different reaction to 9/11 than the American students had. I grew up in Zimbabwe, and it's a place where bad things happen. And I think that throughout my childhood, you get used to the idea that not everything is so secure. I was walking up the road going to the journalism building at the time, and I saw this plane fly into the first tower.
It's now gone.
And then I heard all of the fire engine trucks starting to sort of sound, and all of them started sort of rushing up the streets behind me. Then saw a second plane go into the tower, and it was something incredibly shocking.
We went to Bed-Stuyvesant to cover what was anticipated as a Muslim backlash.
Members of the police force and Muslim leaders gathered to find ways to protect, reassure, and educate the community.
Muslims are not terrorists.
After I left NYU, I actually went to Cairo to study Arabic, but also to do some reporting there, and I worked for a magazine. And I think that I did that because of my experiences in New York.
When we went back this year, the community was so suspicious of journalists.
Stand over there with your camera in front of the store, away from the message.
It was really to find out those stories that drew me into covering the Muslim community after 9/11. I think this is one of the reasons that drew me to Al Jazeera as a new channel that was starting. I really felt it was a good thing that the channel was trying to do. Working in New York and sort of following how the Muslim community were reacting made me realize that I was so ignorant of the Muslim culture. It gave me a different view on how the news was covered and also how America was perceived.
My reaction was
probably like anyone else, is just completely overwhelmed.
The first day, I broke down sobbing when the towers collapsed. It didn't matter that I was studying journalism. I honestly didn't want to cover it then.
In the first 24, 48 hours, even first few days, all I felt like I could really do was just absorb all the images. The fact that imagery captured it in a way that words couldn't was, if anything, a reinforcement of my interest in broadcast journalism over print journalism.
The day after the Trade Center attacks, we took our cameras down West Street. It was the main artery for the rescue effort, and with most of Lower Manhattan shut down, it became a place for people to congregate. This is where we met Kathy Capsuto.
But I see this amazing sense of people just being, the generosity, that people don't believe New Yorkers are like that, but I really believe that New Yorkers, when you're in need, people are there for you.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a journalist acknowledging their own emotion. There are appropriate, I think, and inappropriate ways to do it, but he or she should at least be aware that it exists. My life has a before and after 9/11, but my life as a journalist does not have a before and an after 9/11, only the after. There is no event that compares to this. Not anywhere close.